Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the number one podcast for the business and marketing side of the lumber, woodworking, hardwood flooring, and sawmill industry. I'm your host, Steve from Acres of Timber. Each week, we feature various wood business owners and entrepreneurs from around the globe. We share their stories, paths, insights so that you can network, learn, and grow your own wood business. Thank you so much for listening. Now enjoy the episode. The Woodpreneur podcast is proudly sponsored by Acres CRM. Acres CRM is the wood industry's only customer relationship management software dedicated to helping you automate your sales and marketing so that you can focus on serving your customers and growing your business. You can visit acresoftimber.com to learn more and to schedule a demo. Once again, that's acresoftimber.com. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve. Today's guests are Jeff Krug and Rob Barone from Greene Street Joinery. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. Doing well.
Awesome. So why don't you tell us the origin story? How'd you get started? Tell us the backstory behind Greene Street Joinery.
So Rob and I met actually on a job site. Must have been 2016. I was working for a custom builder. I was sort of the we'll say like assistant project manager, lead finish carpenter. I was working on this job. We were doing like a full remodel and actually a second floor addition on this house. And working one day, this guy comes in. You know, obviously when the PM's not there, I have to figure out who you are, what you're here to do, kind of thing. So we got to talking. Rob was there to measure some stuff for the cabinet company. And we kind of hit it off right away. Somehow the conversation led to like what we had done in the past. We both came from the restaurant industry. So, you know, we hit it off right away and saw each other a couple of times on that job. But then, you know, we parted ways for another 2 years. Turns out I get a job at the same cabinet shop where Rob had been working. And Rob was actually, he was on call it a sabbatical. He was working on a different job outside of that shop, in his own shop. And then shortly after I started, must have been a month or two. Yeah. Rob actually came back to that shop. So that's how we met.
That's awesome. And Rob, from you, like taking it from there, how did you decide to collaborate on Greene Street Joinery?
Well, my shop was sitting dormant at that time. It was just an 800 square foot shop, but it, was ready to roll. And we'll just say the working conditions in that shop where Jeff and I were working weren't ideal. So we just, would toss around the idea, well, why don't we go over to my shop and, give it a go. And at that time I hadn't touched base with any of my old clients for a couple of years. So it was pretty much, dead in the water as far as any old contacts. And Jeff had a new family. It was all pretty risky. So we would, we'd grouse about our day job, we call it. And one day, Jeff had a epiphany, and I'll let him get into that. And we just decided to go for it.
That's
Put
cool.
It on notice, and that was that.
So what was the epiphany?
So Rob, he fails to talk about his sort of departure from the place. The guy that we worked for was, like Rob was saying, he was sort of out of his element, and the business was, didn't run very smoothly. But Rob actually, on the day after Christmas, in must have been 2018.
Yeah.
Gets called into the office, and the guy says, listen, we're gonna be slow for a couple of weeks, so if you don't mind, you could just, stay home, and I'll give you a call in a couple of weeks. Well, the phone call never came. we were busy. We don't know, obviously we're not inside that guy's head, so we don't know the full story, but he kind of had some issues with Rob because we were very outspoken about, all the problems there. But anyway, so Rob is gone. I'm still working there for must have been, we'll say it's about another year. This was around, I guess, Memorial Day 2019, so not even 6 months. My mother-in-law ended up in the hospital with heart problems. Come to find out, this wasn't the reason, but they said, this is from stress at work. Like, the stress at work is literally killing you. So I'm like, oh man, this is pretty bad, because I was very stressed. It was a very difficult place to work.
It was like a telltale sign. It was like a sign, right?
It was that one final, because Rob and I had been kicking around this idea since even before Rob was laid off, we'll call it. So now that he was gone, we're constantly going back and forth, trying to scheme a way to basically get this off the ground. Like, I'm just waiting for something to break, a job to break that's big enough where I feel comfortable leaving. So this whole thing happens with my mother-in-law, and I'm like, okay, this is the straw that's going to break the camel's back. I put in my letter of resignation. 2 weeks later, it was September 27th, 2019. We officially started the company.
Wow. And both of you went full-time at once.
Mm-hmm.
Was the first big job with the church? Was that the? I mean, we had a couple little things that we were, I forgot this part. There was another guy that worked at the shop, and during this initial year before Greene Street, I was doing a few jobs, and a guy that we both knew had a few jobs, and we were doing them together in my shop because he didn't have a shop. And Jeff was working his 40 hours in like 2 to 3 days over at this other shop. And then he was going over and working Thursday and Friday with us.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that myself.
You're just putting in your time so that you could build the thing that you really wanted to do.
Sweat equity. I mean, that's our entire business, is sweat equity.
Sure. Hey, so tell me what was the original, like, I mean, you talked about, Rob, the church project, because I remember when I first started a business, there was like a big project to like set it off. Like, what was the first big project where both you're like, you know what, this is us, this is Greene Street, like this is what we're going for it. But what was that first couple jobs?
Yeah, well, St. Anthony of Padua and Red Bank contacted us, and we wound up building an do you know what an altar rail is?
Yeah,
in a Catholic church, it's that sort of that
where you kneel in front to get the bread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sacrament.
Catholic school kid here. So. Yeah.
Yes, we're all delinquent.
Yeah. Yeah. I was an altar boy.
Yeah, that was a really nice job. And there were a couple of little side jobs to that. And then Father Al, as we call him, he wanted some confessionals built and like little mini houses.
So you couldn't really get more blessed than to have your first couple jobs be for the church, right? Like,
right, exactly.
Like unlimited blessings in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So what were those projects like? Like, I mean, obviously you could build them, like, but there was like a little nervousness in the beginning at doing it?
None at all, really. It really gave us a surge of confidence. I mean, we started out maybe naive as far as business goes, but fully confident in our ability as woodworkers. So, right, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, we're always trying to push ourselves. So, and that's in what we're building, like skills wise, sort of what we're willing to take on in terms of like size of job, all that stuff. So we've really welcomed any challenge that's been thrown our way in the last couple of years.
And then so you had the church stuff, you had some other projects. Like how did you set it up? How did it set up the business? Did you incorporate LLC, like operating documents? Like talk about the sort of the technical formation of it.
Yeah. So initially, like Rob was saying, I don't know if he said it outright, but we had a third partner in the beginning, and he left the company. We quote unquote bought him out in December of 2020, right?
Yeah.
Or it was like effective 1/1/2021. It was just the two of us. So we just did it like the bare bones, simple way. Went online to like LegalZoom, I think it was, and did a boilerplate
Operating
partnership
agreement.
operating agreement. Just filed everything, through the Fed and through the state, and that was really it.
Yeah. And in terms of your, like, how did you get the word out about business? What kind of marketing did you do?
So Instagram has really been the most effective means of marketing for us. I started an Instagram for Rob after he left the old shop that we were at. So we had the Barone Woodwork Instagram, and I would because this is my ticket out, basically. So I was running.
Because you couldn't do it where you were showing your face, so it had to be under Rob because he got the
Right.
can. Yeah.
Right. And we didn't have a name, so it was basically like we were just gonna, and Barone Woodwork had been around for what, 15 years more. So Rob already had an established business, but because he went to work for this other shop for a couple of years, obviously you lose touch with your clients, and all that steam that you built up is gone. And he didn't have any social media. So I started that Instagram. I started to reach out to designers. I cold messaged like must have been 2,500 people over the course of that first year. So from December to December. And 99.99% of them didn't pan out to even become a conversation. But we got linked up with a good designer probably about 2 years ago, and honestly, with two guys, she keeps us just about busy enough where we can fit in a couple other jobs, and that's really it.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's and so what, talk about your main product service. Like what are you building?
So we build, I'd say mostly freestanding casework is really our specialty. So things that are more like freestanding furniture, whether it's like an entertainment unit or a credenza or just some little, I mean, really anything in that sort of realm, but we do basically anything. We've built kitchens, we've built, beds and tables and chairs and stuff like that, all the liturgical work. But our main focus is sort of that freestanding casework.
So like entryway locker type things, and like I mean, really look, I see a lot of cabinet stuff on your website. What were some of the challenges when you first started? Like what were the things that you had to like learn, or like hard lessons where you're like, damn, never gonna do that again?
Well, yeah, those keep happening. And I guess they never stop, but
No, they never do. No,
yeah,
no.
I'd say one thing that was really hard in the beginning is we set out to be different than sort of all these other quote unquote custom cabinet shops, who, they don't build their doors, they're ordering their doors, they don't build their drawers, so on and so forth. So we really wanted to sort of take a stand in the face of, what we were dealing with at the prior shop, and do everything ourselves, build the doors, build the drawers, use only the best material. and most of the things that we were being approached with didn't really fit the bill. So we really had to stand our ground, and we turned away a lot of work, probably one out of 12 or 15 jobs is what we took or got.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
So luckily, Rob having the shop, we didn't have that big nut to carry, and we were able to sort of squeak by and be, I guess, stubborn, for lack of a better term, with
So what'd you
the
do? Like you said, no, we don't want to do that. Or was it the job
Yes.
budget wasn't feasible enough
both.
to warrant both?
Yeah. We would get for example, we got some drawings and spec sheets from a designer. They wanted something out in the Hamptons, a kitchen, and it was all just slab overlay, doors, plywood, edge banded, and it was a big job. It was probably $100,000 kitchen, but we were really trying to make a name for ourselves with what we wanted to do, because we always thought, if you start doing the things you don't want to do, you're going to get stuck building these things. And we said, you know what? It doesn't look like something we want to put our name on. So we turned it away. Now, that's not to say that now, we don't take on things like that, because, like we're saying, we're constantly learning. So we're learning what needs to be done for the business. We need to bring in income. So you can't turn away 14 out of 15 jobs.
For sure.
But we've made enough of a name for ourselves where now people know us for this one thing. But if you come to us with something else, we're going to try and make it work for you.
That's what you just said before is going to be really inspiring to a lot of people, because people make compromises in the beginning to get the job done, and you guys stood your ground. I mean, what kind of gave you the gall to turn away business? Like what I want to understand the conditions in which. So I know one of them was you had the shop already, you had Rob's shop. Was there anything else that kind of made you like confident enough to say no to certain things, especially like $100,000 job in the Hamptons?
Well, there are a couple of different levels. The shop is certainly one, so we didn't have a big overhead. Another was Jeff and I both agreed that we would take less money in order to do what we wanted. So there are a couple of sacrifices. We often joke that everybody thought we were living this dream because we do all these interesting jobs and we call our own shots, but they don't see behind the scenes, what we were sacrificing, especially in the beginning. Not that we don't still continue to make those sacrifices, but that's what it's all about. Life's a balance, work's a balance. We had a little bit of history with my old business, knowing that there are customers, there's clients out there that do want some of this nicer stuff. They're just fewer and further between. And we were just, we were set on creating a name for ourselves. We didn't, and also it's kind of hard to compete in that larger marketplace. We had a smaller shop, so we couldn't produce the same amount of work that a 5 or 10,000 square foot shop could with all of the the larger machines and everything. So we sort of said, this is our niche, let's do it. And Jeff was always on Instagram, always beating the bushes, calling, messaging, and it really started to build its own momentum.
That's great. That's great. And what was the first sort of milestone? So you've been since 2019, so about 3 years now, focusing on custom kitchens, freestanding furniture, millwork stuff, and like tell us what was the first sort of milestone where you started to see like a path?
It's hard to say. We kind of just been holding on for dear life, I think, over the last 3 years.
Well, I
It's
mean,
really-
maybe here's an example. Maybe it was a particular job, or where it was like a recognition, or whether it was like whatever, but there was something that at the end of it, you're like, you know what? Let's go to a nice dinner tonight. Like, do you remember that moment?
Well, we just did that. So we just celebrated 3 years on the 27th of September. So yeah, like
Congrats.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And actually, so the 27th was, I think, like a Wednesday or something. The Friday we went out to dinner, and that Friday we signed a lease. We're moving into a 5,200 square foot shop.
Sick. Congrats.
So thanks. It's scary. It's exciting, but that,
Yeah.
I think, it's something that the wheels have been in motion for a while. It took a long time, but getting to the point where it's like, we can't grow anymore in this shop. We need to move into a bigger shop.
Yeah.
I think, said a lot about where the business is going.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. So what does growth look like for you?
So I think we kind of like, we've always had this dream to model the business after like a Thomas Moser, where, we have, some lines of furniture. We can employ people with good jobs, be good stewards of the earth. We're, doing things sustainably and ecologically. So that's, I think, where we want to be. We want to grow this thing to where we can have employees who have good jobs. We're putting out a good product, and the name, carries weight.
How many people are on your team right now?
So it's me and Rob.
Okay.
Well, we do have some ancillary people that do help us out. We have people who are our friends now on CNC, welding, things like that.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned CNC. What was the for a good piece of equipment investment that you did make in your business?
Most recently we got into a laser. So we were commissioned to build these 1,000 finger jointed boxes for Brad Leone from Bon Appetit magazine and Kenji Lopez Alt. They're a couple of well-known chefs. So they commissioned us to build those 1,000 boxes. We bought a laser to actually cut them out.
Yeah.
I'd say probably our favorite tool investment is a wide belt sander. We have a small shop, so we got a 16-inch open-ended. But that thing, it paid for itself so fast.
And what kind of CNC do you have?
No CNC. We have the laser.
Oh, just the laser. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
CNC's on the list.
CNC, what kind are you looking at?
A 5x10.
Like a 5-axis or
I guess it would be just a regular 3-axis.
oh, okay.
Basically just to cut out cabinet parts.
Yeah. Hey, what I guess one question is, when you think about the future, and especially the state of the world, right? Have you A, felt it, or B, like, how are you preparing for it?
Well, as Jeff alluded to, we try to be good stewards. So as far as the state of the world, there's there's the mechanical level, I'll call it, where we've had a hard time getting certain things like drawer slides. There's the giving back, which the salt cellars is a good example. A lot of money has a full 25% between the pair of chefs and Jeff and myself was donated to, is it No Kid Hungry? Is that the correct? It's a charity, for childhood hunger.
Mhm.
During the first year, we had trees planted in the name of our clients through the Arbor Day Foundation. We try to shop locally. We source our lumber from nearby Pennsylvania. We try to support other small businesses that are local to us. And generally just try and be good people. Jeff also talked about the idea of growth, meaning the ability to provide good jobs, not just saying, oh, we need some help. Let's drag in a couple of people here and how little can we pay them? We're looking at bringing in people that could enjoy coming to work and have sustainable wages. So, that's all part of our vision.
That's great, man. And I love your work, and the fact that you have relationships with some key designers that must really help. And so this is a part of the podcast interview where I give you any marketing or business advice. And so is there anything that you need help with, to think through, that I can help out with?
Yeah, I'd say maybe like, what's a good tactic to make sure that you're getting in front of the right clientele? Because let's say we run like a Google ad and somebody searches for cabinets. Well, not everyone that searches for cabinets, there's not really any other way to put it, but can afford what we're making because of how we're doing it. So how would you suggest that you sort of tailor these marketing tactics towards the right clientele?
So I think for you, one of the things that I would think about is running, so let's say Google ads, running individual campaigns for specific product lines. And so I would guess that you are sending your Google ads to your homepage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what about if you you sent them to your kitchen cabinet or your, free, so then you can have a more targeted ad specifically for that product that they're looking for, instead of them having to dig around to see whether they can do it. And then on that page, you put a picture or pictures, you have testimonials, and then you legit say, our kitchens start at this. Our freestanding, entryway lockers start at this. Our dining tables or whatever start at this. And then you put a form that they can fill out in order to reach you. But it's just literally one page, some photos, some testimonials, and then you pre-qualify them. Just tell them exactly what you start at. Because then that could avoid a lot of tire kickers and time wasters, right?
Yeah.
That would.
Oh, sorry. We kind of do that in a roundabout way now. I have a Google form where, let's say you're a new client, you call me and say, yeah, I'm looking to get a table. I say, listen, go to the website, go to the new client questionnaire. It's going to ask all the pertinent questions. Where are you located? What's your budget? What style are you looking for? Are there any mechanicals that need to be integrated? And it's saved a lot of time for us because, like you said, you get these tire kickers and they want, a dining table and their budget's $2,000. Well, we're not going to be able to do it. So I don't want to invest all this time, even just talking to you, because there's only two of us, before I know that you're actually a potential client.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I would, and you can set up different types of qualification. So we have a CRM, and our CRM, when people fill out a certain form, if you say, what's your budget? And then you can dictate what the budget is, and it could disqualify them. So that maybe they could get sent an email that says, sorry, you should go to these people because you can't afford our stuff, right? And so there are different ways that you can do that as well. And I like that practice too. I mean, the biggest thing really is, again, if you have a lot of relationships with a lot of designers, one thing that you could do is start following the people that follow the designers on Instagram. And like you can potentially run and like all their stuff. This is a little hack for people that are listening. So you can like all their stuff. They'll come back and check your page, and then you can run ads to them using Instagram, Facebook, Facebook Business Manager, to anybody that has visited your profile. Right. And then you can do like a DM so that they can an automatic DM as soon as they DM you. And then you can say, what are you interested in? Kitchen, this, and this. And then you can automatically have them go to the page, to the landing page.
I like that.
Yeah. So that's what I would do. Get targeted. If you're doing Google Ads, that's great. I always recommend people doing Google Ads, but have different campaigns set to specific landing pages. And then the other thing is the designers, because they have your audience. So follow the people that follow them.
That's good advice.
Because maybe they could go outside of the designers and go directly to you, right?
Yeah, because the designers have to mark everything up. So
well,
sort of
not only that, it's I remember I got my house remodeled, and my mortgage person referred 2 remodelers to us, right? And it was a pretty big remodel, right? And we interviewed both, and then we say, hey, you know what? They both seem good. And then the mortgage person, you know what she said? She was like, go with this person. He always kills it. I was like, okay, that's great. And then she made another remark, which kind of made me like, it made me a little funny, because she said, I referred some work to this guy, and I had him do some work and whatever, and she wasn't too happy on it. And her comment was, these guys eat because of me. And I was like, whoa. So anyway, that's my whole point about relying on a designer or a couple designers is to start building your own platform so that you can you don't have to, not rely on somebody to make you eat. So
yeah, and you don't have to bend to their will,
You don't have to bend to their will, especially when they know that you constitute a large chunk of your revenue, And so anyway, that's it. So any last bits of parting advice for the Woodpreneur community?
Well, first I want to thank you. That was some good advice. We'll probably follow up on all of that stuff.
Don't follow it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Don't question it. Just do it.
Yeah, I think that's a good advice for everybody out there listening. That's thinking about doing it is just do it. Be prepared to make some sacrifices. Think about what it is that you value in your life. Jeff and I were lucky in that we both have the same mindset. Why do something 40 hours a week so that you could do something that you enjoy, on the weekend or in the evenings? That's what a lot of people are sort of kind of corralling themselves into, that situation. And it's not, all sugar and lollipops over here.
Rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it kind of stinks sometimes, really.
Right. You're a small business, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, it stinks. Yeah, for sure. It stinks.
Yeah. Take the risk, get out there and do it. You can always go back to your other job.
Yep. Yeah. You can always go back to your other job.
That's what I thought when I first started. I said, well, worst that could happen is I'll go back and work in a restaurant somewhere.
For sure. Cool. And Jeff, any last bit of parting advice?
Yeah, I mean, I'll sort of echo everything that Rob said. And if you have a specific thing that you want to do with your business, try and stick to your guns like we did and do just that thing, so that you can make a name for yourself, doing what you want to do. And then later on, if you want to incorporate, other things into your business, that's fine. But, if you have a vision, stick to it, and, try and give some clarity as to, what your business is in the beginning, because it's a very formative time.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. How can people follow you? Website, Instagram?
So we're at greenstreetjoinery.com. Greene has an E at the end, Greene. We I don't know how many emails we probably lose a year because of that. I'm gonna have to get a redirect.
You may have to buy Green Street Joinery without the, without the E.
Yeah.
Or somebody start up Green Street Joinery and get all the overflow from.
I know. Oh my God. If you're listening to this, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Greene Street Joinery on Instagram, Facebook, and the American Craftsman podcast. Well, actually, we're going to be recording right after this. So
Cool. Awesome. Dude, thank you so much, both of you, for your time. And I look forward to getting your story out.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.